Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Amagyanatimirandasya Gyananjanasalakaya Chakhurunimiletan Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamaham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanam Cha Sirupam Sagrajatam Saganasi Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Raitam Sri Visakham Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatrivasya krupa sindhuvaiva cha patitanam pavanabhya vaishnavabhya namo namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paśatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vyāsadeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome to the nectar verses from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So we are very much immensely delighted. We are exuberantly exhilarated to announce that we will be conducting this Bhagavatam series, the daily Bhagavatam series. The nectarian verses from the Bhagavatam, we will conduct the classes every day. Because Srila Prabhupada said that one should Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, one should every day. Nityam means daily, regularly. Every day, even 24 hours a day. So every day at least we should discuss Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. How important the discussion is today, we will be talking in our classes. It's an introductory class to the introductory class to this series, Bhagavatam daily series. How important the Bhagavatam, how significant to study Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So this regular reading of Bhagavatam is injunction, is a order of spiritual master, because without sufficient hearing from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one cannot cross the ocean of material suffering. One cannot cross this material existence. There is no other way to cross, because Bhagavatam is the Padma Purāṇa says that Tamadi Devam Karunanidhanam, Tamadi Devam Karunanidhanam, Tamalabannam Sui Avataram, Apara Sansara Samudra Setu, Bhaja Mahi Bhagavatam, Krishna Surupam. So here it is said that it's very, very difficult to cross, particularly in this age of Kali, to cross this ocean, because the present age of Kali is very abominable, age of quarrel, age of conflict, age of spiritual decline, spiritual deteriorations. So in this abominable age, it's very difficult to get this spiritual sight, to get enlightened. So therefore Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is very, very important, because it appears as this brilliant sun, just like in a darkness we cannot see. We will lose our, just like if there is no electricity now, I cannot see. We need light. If there is no sun, we cannot see. Similarly, particularly in this present age, our condition is very, very, we are blind to the spiritual knowledge. We are blind to the spiritual knowledge. We are blind to the principles of life. So therefore, in this age, it is not only an incumbent, also it is an imperative to daily hear Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam arises as brilliant as sun to eradicate all the pretentious religious system, to dissipate all the darkness of this age. This Bhagavatam arises as brilliant sun. So how important, the paramount important of Bhagavatam, particularly everyday hearing Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So today we will discuss more elaborately on these verses. Is Kṛṣṇa sva-dhāmopagate dharma-jñānādibhiḥ Kalo naṣṭa-dṛśām purāṇārko dhunoditaḥ. So this is a beautiful verses, very, very important verses. You say that this Bhagavad Purāṇa is as brilliant as the sun. It has arisen just after the departure of Lord Kṛṣṇa to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Person who have lost their vision due to dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purāṇa. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We will go through the line by line purport and explain it more elaborately on this. Lord Sri Krishna has his eternal dham or abode, where he eternally enjoys himself with his eternal associate paraphernalia. And his eternal abode is a manifestation of his internal potency, whereas material world is a manifestation of his external energy. When he descends to the material world, he displays himself with all paraphernalia in his internal potency, which is called Atma Maya. In the Bhagavad-gītā, Lord says he descends by his own potency, Atma Maya. His form, name, fame, paraphernalia, abode are not therefore creation of matter. He descends to reclaim the fallen souls and re-establish the religion which are directly enacted by him. That is very important point. First of all, Prabhupada say that what is this Krishna's abode is Goloka Vrindavan. So his eternal abode, Krishna resides in Goloka, he was Akhilatma Bhuktam. So he is staying in eternal abode, but whenever he descends with his internal potency. Because Krishna has got many potency. Parasya Sakti, Vivideiva Svade. So Lord has so many Sakti and particularly categorized into three Sakti. That is called internal potency, external potency, and spiritual Antaranga Sakti, Bahiranga Sakti, and material energy. Tatastha Sakti. And this is given in the CC, Vishnu Sakti Paraprokta. This is a beautiful verses in CC that 2 times it has been given. Vishnu Sakti Paraprokta Khetra Gyakya Tatha Para Avidya Karma Samagya Tirthya Sakti Rishyate. So there are 3 potency. Potency of the Lord Vishnu is summarized in category, namely spiritual potency. The living entity is called Tatastha Sakti. And ignorance, that is called external potency. The spiritual potency is full of knowledge. The living entity, although belonging to spiritual potency, are subject to the bewilderment. And the third energy, which is full of ignorance, is always visible in fruitive activities. So here Prabhupada is saying that Krishna has 3 potency. So he is conducting in spiritual world in internal potency. Whenever he descends to the material world, which is conducted by external potency, he doesn't go under the covering of his covered by the ignorance, because he comes as the Atma Mayaya. Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna say, I appear Atma Mayaya in my internal potency. So he appears whenever there is some avatar, means who descends from the spiritual world. So Krishna say, whenever there is a discrepancy in the matter of the execution of dharma, the principle of life, that time Krishna descends. Why he descends? He descends to reclaim the fallen soul, to establish the code of religion. So dharma means people do not know that. we have turned away from the Lord. Now we are, all the conditioned soul are entrapped by his material energy. That is called Bahiranga Sakti. We are entrapped. As a result, we do not know. We are under the ignorance. We do not know what is the principle of life. Dharma means the principle of life. Krishna here explaining, Prabhupada here explaining what is the principle of religion. Principle of religion means to know God and our relationship with him, our duty in relationship with him, to know ultimately our destination after leaving the material body. Three things is important. What is dharma? Dharma means people do not know. They are thinking dharma means, English dictionary say that loosely translated faith. It's kind of faith. No, because dharma means characteristic, intrinsic characteristic. Just a characteristic of the water is liquidity. The characteristic of the fire is light and heat. The characteristic of sugar is sweet. So therefore, the real nature, real characteristic, that is called dharma. Real dharma means to know who am I, what is my relationship with God. That is called sambandha jnana. And we have to act according to that relationship. That is called abode. Finally, to go back to destination, or what is the aim of life, and go back to that. That is the perfection. So all this Veda means knowledge. Knowledge starts with the three things. To know the religion. And this religion is not manufactured. It's not like a kind of faith. Today I'm Hindu, tomorrow I become Muslim. Day after tomorrow I may profess Christianity. No, it's not kind of faith. It's a characteristic. You cannot change the characteristic of a water. You cannot take out the liquidity. You cannot take out the characteristic of liquidity from the water. We cannot take out the sweetness from the sugar. Similarly, we cannot take out this characteristic dharma. Dharma means we are the part and parcel of the Lord. We are living entity. And God is the supreme soul. We are spirit soul. And we should act according to that relationship. That means engage in devotional service. And perfection of devotional service is to go back to him. That is religion. And that is enacted by this code of religion, or the principle of religion is not manufactured. Just like we cannot manufacture a law. Similarly, we cannot manufacture this dharma. Nowadays, so many dharma is mushrooming. The pretentious religion, these are the things. The real dharma means, that is called Bhagavat dharma. Dharman Bhagavatam. Yeah. What is that Bhagavat dharma? This is sambandha jnana, avidya jnana, prayojana jnana. We should know who am I, what is my relationship with God. That is enacted by the Lord. Dharma to sakyat Bhagavad Purāṇa. Nobody can manufacture. It's given by the God. It's an injunction of the God. Principle of religion enacted by God. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also teaching, he was saying this point also to Sanatana Goswami, that what is the real dharma. Real dharma is, this is very important things. The Veda Shastra kahe sambandha avidya prayojana Krishna prapya sambandha bhakti prapya sadhana. So here it is said that the Vedic literature gives information about living entity, eternal relationship with Krishna, which is called sambandha. Living entity's understanding of this relationship and his acting accordingly is called avidya. Returning home back to God, it is the ultimate goal of life, is called prayojana. That is real dharma. Therefore, when Krishna say that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sudame. When Krishna proclaimed that what is my purpose of descending from my eternal abode, Goloka Vrindavan, to this material world, to re-establish the principle of religion. When the principle of religion is forgotten, people do not know, they are manufacturing so many pretentious religions. That time, Krishna descends to re-establish the real religion. That is the real religion. Prema Pumartha Mahan, how to develop love of Godhead. Real religion is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Jivera Swarupa Nitya Krishnera Dasa. Our constitutional characteristic, our real characteristic dharma is to engage in the service of the Lord, because we are part and parcel of the Lord. We are meant to serve, just like a finger is meant to serve the body. A finger is not serving means it is in a disease condition. Similarly, we are not serving the Lord. That means we are in a disease condition. Therefore, we are called conditioned soul, suffering in this material world. Service is always there. We cannot take out our consciousness, just like a liquidity cannot be taken out from water. The sweetness cannot be taken out from the sweet. Similarly, the service is which is our characteristic cannot be taken out. Either you have to serve the God or serve my boss, my dog, or my wife, my children, my country. The service cannot be. Nobody can claim that I am not serving anybody. But only thing that our service is misdirected. Therefore, Krishna descends to re-establish the principle of religion, that your service, your real dharma is to service to the Supreme Lord, not to Tom, Dick and Harry. Because that is the ultimate aim of life. That is our ultimate benefit. Sarva-dharman parityāda māme ekam saranam vada aham tvam sarva pāpebhyo mukhyasami māsu. Krishna is establishing dharma, telling sarva-dharman, all this pretentious religion, kaitava, cheating religion, throw out all cheating religion. Everybody is manufacturing their dharma. Oh, my dharma is to serve the country. My dharma is serve to my parents, my children, my this, that. So many dharma they have created. So Krishna said, kicked out, sarva dharman. Dharma projita kaitava, prakashta rupena urjita. Kicked out all this religion, so-called religion. And Krishna wanted to establish the principle of religion. Therefore, he descends actually. He descends for that purpose, to establish the principle of religion. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that devotional service, sense of activity for the satisfaction of the Lord is called abode, because it can develop one's original love of Godhead, which is the goal of life. We do not know our goal of life. We are loving so many things. See, we don't stop the loving propensity. This is a natural. Our natural, in our natural state, in our constitutional sense, we love God. But because we are we are blinded by the external energy, we do not know what is the principle of religion. We do not know what is my characteristic. We have forgotten it. Therefore, Krishna comes to awakening that love of Godhead, awakening that Krishna consciousness, awakening that principle of religion, which is the goal of life. How to develop prema pumartha mahan, how to develop. Love is there, but it is again misdirected. So many things we love. We love YouTube, Instagram, we love Shahrukh Khan, we love so many iconic people. So many, we have, our love is distributed. Therefore, Krishna has come to re-establish this principle, to awakening this love of Godhead. This goal is the living entity topmost interest, greatest wealth. People telling our greatest wealth if you become Ambani or millionaire, billionaire. No. Our greatest wealth is this love of Godhead. This is our topmost interest and greatest wealth. Thus one attains platform of transcendental loving service unto the Lord. So this is whole idea. Savai punsam poro dharma jato virodho kya. We have to develop the love of Godhead. That is whole idea. By developing love of Godhead, we can get out from this clutches of this material existence, which is full of misery, full of obnoxious misery, of so many things repeated, birth, death, and so on and so forth. Recently in Pahalgam, all of a sudden they were all enjoying, and within a minute they were vanished. You see how dangerous this material existence. Padam padam yad vipadam nati. It is say that if this place is padam padam yad vipadam, every step is dangerous. We are oblivion. We are just like a deer. It say that is comparing this material existence is comparing like this. It's like a deer who is munching the grasses with wife, but he do not know before him there is a hunter, behind him there is a tiger. They are waiting for him to devour him. Our situation is like this. Therefore, Shastra says that, my dear king, please search out the deer who is engaged in eating grass in a very nice flower garden along with his wife. That is the same things happen in Pahalgram. The deer is very much attached to his business and he is enjoying sweet singing of the bumblebee in his garden. Just try to understand his position. He is unaware of that before him is a tiger which is accustomed to living at the cost of another place. Behind the deer is hunter who is threatening to pierce him with sharp arrows. Thus the deer death is imminent. That is exactly happened. This material world, every step is dangerous. You may be very happily enjoying the things, but all of a sudden things will be topsy-turvy. Things will change, turn of the table. That is the intrinsic nature of the material world also. Just like an intrinsic nature or characteristic, real nature characteristic of the sweet is sweetness, sugar is sweetness. Similarly, the intrinsic characteristic of material nature is suffering. Dukkhalayam asasthatam, full of misery. And we are trying to become happy due to our ignorance. Due to our ignorance only. And it is a very temporary world also. Either you will be killed by terrorists or you will die. You will die naturally. But we cannot stay. Despite our tenacious determination to stay in this transient material world, the death will come and forces us to get out, kicked out from this platform, temporary platform. Therefore, at the dispense of material nature, nobody can have a happy and fun and frolic, rest and relax. Anytime things will be changed. Any moment, this body can be lost. Therefore, Krishna comes to teach us, educate us. The principle of religion means how to know who am I, who is God, what is my relationship, and act accordingly relationship. And finally, goal of life to go back to Him by developing love. People do not know that. Everybody is under the illusion. Therefore, it is stated in this beautiful Prabhupada has mentioned here, to reclaim the conditioned soul, reclaim the fallen soul, reclaim the fallen soul. He comes. The conditioned soul who are entrapped by the material energy hardly know all this principle of life. Most of them, like animal, engage in eating, sleeping, fearing, mating. Yes, the lower guts, see, it is stated in Padma Purāṇa that Jalaja Navalakhyana, the 900,000 species in aquatic, Stavara Lakhya Vinsanti. So in these beautiful verses, you see how many species of life. The beautiful verses, it revealed that so many species of life, not the human being. So you say that Jalaja Navalakhyani, in the aquatic marine life, there are 9 lakhs or 900,000. Stavara Lakhya Vinsati, 2 million. 2 million is plants, tree, etc. Kramya Rudra Sankhyaka. Karma Rudra Sankhyaka means that 1.1 million species is insect and reptiles. There are 1 million species birds. And as far as quadruped are concerned, there are 300,000. 3 million. And there are 400,000 human species. So in this way, there are 8.4 million species total. And out of that, only human species is 400,000. And out of all these human species, most of them are ignorant. They are like uncivilized. They are uncivilized. And there are others who are civilized. Civilized means who knows some kind of a religious principle. Who knows the existence of the God. Out of those civilized person, it is stated that many are coming to and giving the lip service. They are giving to lip service. In this beautiful verses, it is said that although the living entity known as human being are very small in quantity, only 5%, 400,000, only 5% species is human being. That division may still further subdivided, for there are many uncultured human beings like Melcha, Pulinda, Bauddha, Saval. They are uncultured. They do not know about the God anything. So then again it is categorized that among human beings, those who are followers of Vedic principle are considered civilized. Those who are following the Vedic principle. What is the Vedic principle? Vedic principle means how to develop love of Godhead. Among these, almost half simply give lip service while committing all kind of sinful activity against this principle. Such people do not care for regulative principle. So most of them, they are entrapped by material energy simply in a very lower grade species. They are simply like a polished edition of animals. Animals has 4 things: ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithuna. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And all this uncultured living entity, they are like that category. They do not know any Vedic principle. They simply eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithuna. It is stated in these beautiful verses, what is the difference between human and animal? So here it is said that ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithuna. So ahara, nidra, bhaya, only 4 things is animal life. If somebody is thinking that this 4 things, they are called uncultured people. Uncultured. But those who are cultured people, they know that there is a speciality. What is the speciality? The speciality is that dharma eka adhika vishesha. Dharma is important. The Vedic principle is the differentiate between the animal and man. If somebody do not follow the Vedic principle, they are called uncultured. And among the culture, those who are following the Vedic principle, many are the lip service, particularly all pretentious. They simply engage in the sense gratification, simply under the pretentious and the pretext of some religion. Whole their idea to approaching God is simply to satisfy their demand, bodily demand, satisfaction their senses, only for the purpose of sense gratification. So they approach God, nothing. So therefore, they are simply like a they are mostly engaged in sense enjoyment under the pretension of religiosity. I'm Hindu, I'm Muslim, I'm this one. Under the pretext of religion, it is simply more main purpose is to enjoy sense enjoyment or knowledge or sometimes salvation. When they are frustrated, kama or dharma, Vedic principle, those who are lower grade, uncultured, they are simply eating, sleeping, mating, depending. Those are little bit of higher cultured, they come to the stage of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. They, under the pretension of religiosity, they want artha, money, some benediction, blessing. some fortune, so that they can engage in kama. Kama means sense enjoyment. When they're disgusted, they want to one with God. They're disgusted, frustrated. Oh, I'm trying to enjoy my senses, but I'm not satisfied. Because this material nature will not make you at the dispense of material nature. Nobody can have a fun and frolic, because it's a place of misery. How can you make a miserable place, a unhappy place, to a happy place? We cannot. It's an intrinsic nature. You cannot change sugar to be salty or salt to be bitter. Therefore, material nature is characterized by dukkhalaya masasatam, the place of misery and temporary. You cannot make it a happy place or a permanent place. No, it's a temporary home. Because of ignorance, I am accepting this is my real home. So therefore, it is said that they want to become one with God, salvation. So these are all pretensions. They're still more blind. They're blind to what is principle of religion. Principle of religion is panchama purushartha, is the love of God, prema pumartha mahan. How to love God. How to get out from this so-called material platform to permanent platform. Murtuma amrita gamaya. What is that? Tamasima jyotir gamaya. That is whole Vedic injunction, is that to inquire about this. What is the real Vedic principle of religion? What is the real principle of religion? Human being begins with that inquiry. Asata Brahma Jigyasa. Tattva Jigyasa. We do not know, we are blind. See, but in the present age, there are still more blind in the present age of quarrel or Kali-yuga. In the Kali-yuga, population is just a royal addition of animals. Everybody is animalistic life, simply sense gratification, how to eat, how to mate, how to sleep, how to bhaya, fear. All things are going on. The royal addition of animal, that's all. Animal is eating on the street, we are eating in a very five-star hotel, Taj hotel, Hotel Taj. What is the difference as far as business of filling the stomach or filling the hungry? The same. Same thing for sex life also. Either a dog is having sex or we are having sex. The enjoyment is the same. Just like a food. You take in a golden plate, or you take in a diamond plate, or you take in a very plastic plate. The food taste is same. Food taste is same. It's the same thing. Substance is one, packaging is different. Maya is packaging just like that, as if it is very good. No, all this enjoyment is same. Because of ignorance, we are thinking that, this is a very nice place. They have nothing to do with spiritual knowledge, godly religious life. They are blind. Apasyatam atma tattvam. Simply blind to that. They do not know that. Ignorance. Complete ignorance. It is stated that, these beautiful verses, that people are, due to ignorance only, they are suffering. Due to ignorance, the materialistic person does not know anything about his real self-interest, the auspicious path in life. He is simply bound to material enjoyment by lusty desires. All his plans are made for this purpose, for temporary sense gratification. Such person creates a society of envy. Due to this mentality, he plunges into the ocean of suffering. Such a foolish person does not even know about it. Most of them are oblivion to fact. What is the real principle of religion? And those who knows also, they are under pretension, they are enjoying. They are as bad as uncultured people. Simply lip service, show bottles religious, show bottle religiosist. Nothing to do with real goal of life. It is stated also in these verses that as long as one does not inquire about spiritual value of life, one is defeated, subject to misery, arising from ignorance, be it sinful, pious karma has this resultant action. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatama, colored with fruitive activity. As long as mind is impure, conscious is unclear, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept material body. So as a result, he is accepting different body. He is undergoing this material existence, repeated birth and death, and he does not know about this. Therefore, Kṛṣṇa was very kind. These people, these living entities, they are part and parcel of knowledge, part and parcel of me. But they are suffering due to ignorance. And he wanted to reclaim the conditioned soul. Therefore, every time he descends to establish the principle of religion. And when he goes, along with him, all this knowledge principle goes. But he is kind enough to keep it, that Vedic principle, the knowledge of Vedic principle, so that people will take the advantages of that and they can get out from this darkness of ignorance. Because as long as we are ignorance, we cannot get out. Kṛṣṇa says to Uddhava that, O most intelligent Uddhava, the living entity called Jiva is part and parcel of me, but due to ignorance he has been suffering in the material bondage since time immemorial. By knowledge, however, he can be liberated. Therefore, Kṛṣṇa comes to establish this knowledge, preach or propagate that knowledge, and while living, he also empowers somebody to propagate this knowledge. Therefore, here it is stated that when Kṛṣṇa left, actually, Kṛṣṇa sva-dhāmopagate, he wind up in Dwapara Yuga, he came, and when he, in other words, if a man in this age of Kali want to see the real light of life, they must take to these two books only. Their aim will be fulfilled. Bhagavad-gītā, preliminary study of Bhāgavatam, and the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Sonam of life. So Lord Kṛṣṇa is, which is the Lord Kṛṣṇa personified. One, we must therefore accept Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as the direct representation of Kṛṣṇa. So when Kṛṣṇa actually left, here it is stated here, that the personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa appeared before us just a little prior to the beginning of Kali-yuga. He came Dwapara Yuga, at the end of the Dwapara Yuga. He returned to his eternal home practically at the commencement of Kali-yuga. While he was present, he exhibited everything by his different activities. He spoke Bhagavad-gītā specially and eradicated all pretentious principle of religiosity. When Kṛṣṇa was there, because his business is to establish dharma, therefore he eradicated all this so-called cheating, pretentious religiosity. And prior to his departure from this material world, he empowered Śrī Vyāsadeva through Nārada to compile the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So he's so magnanimous. Prior to his departure, he put this Vedic principle or principle of religion, dharma, in Bhagavatam as a Bhagavatam form, as a book, so that people can read and take the advantages of these two books and dissipate the darkness of material existence. That is his magnanimity. Therefore, the Bhagavatam is the presentation. Bhagavad-gītā is preliminary study. Bhagavatam is the graduate study. So this Bhagavatam is the sonam of life, which is the representation of Kṛṣṇa. He appeared as a book form. So Kṛṣṇa, there are so many incarnations of the Kṛṣṇa. He sometimes comes as a fish incarnation, sometimes as a half man, half lion, sometimes as a different incarnation. So he has come when he left it, but he still appears as a sound incarnation, literal incarnation, as a book incarnation, as a Bhagavatam, so that people will not be lost sight, particularly in this age of Kali. People will take advantages of this book and understand the principle of religion, what is my dharma, and get out from this obnoxious existence and go back to Godhead. They can attain the goal of life by taking advantages of Bhagavatam or reading Bhagavad. Taking advantages means Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, by hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That is whole idea. Therefore, it is stated that in these beautiful verses, it is stated that Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Uttama Sloka Charitam Chakare Bhagavan Anusi Nisrayasya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasti Ayanam Mahat. So here it is said that the scripture named Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the literal incarnation of the God. So when Lord left this world, material world, prior to the commencement of Kali-yuga, he appeared out of his causeless mercy as a book form. Therefore, it is a literal incarnation of God. It is compiled by Śrī Vyāsadeva, the incarnation of God. So he empowers Vyāsadeva. He is a Satyavesa avatar. He is empowered by the Supreme Lord. It is meant for ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. That is the value of Bhagavatam. That is the significance of the Bhagavatam. That is the glories of Bhagavatam. Therefore, it is said that it is appear as brilliant as sun to dissipate the people of the age of Kali, particularly these people of the age of Kali who are completely in ignorance, who has lost their sight, who do not know their personal interest, who do not know their goal of life, to enlighten them, to eradicate them, eradicate their, to dissipate their ignorance. Lord has appeared as the incarnation, appeared as a literal incarnation. Therefore, Bhagavatam is a representation of the Lord for the ultimate good, of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, all perfect. Why? Because if you read Bhagavatam, it's stated in this verse that all our illusion will go away because we are suffering on account of our ignorance. So it is stated that then anartha upasamam sakyat bhakti yogam adakyada lokosya jnata vidvam chakre satastha samhitam. So the material misery of the living entity which are superfluous to him can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass people do not know this. Therefore, the learned Vyāsadeva compiled this Vedic literature which is in relation to the supreme truth. So many people do not know what is the principle of religion. They do not know what is dharma. Dharma means savai punsam paro dharma, to develop the love of God, devotional service, engage in devotional service. They do not know that. By that process, one can mitigate all these miseries of the life and attain the goal of life, go back to Godhead. Ajnana, because out of ignorance, they do not know. Therefore, the purpose of Vyāsadeva or purpose of Kṛṣṇa to empower Vyāsadeva to compile this literature is to reclaim the conditioned soul, to mitigate our misery for our ultimate good. How magnanimous, Kambadalim Saranam Brajema. How magnanimous Kṛṣṇa is. He's arranging everything. He wanted to, he is so much, he is so much eager to reclaim us, to help us. But we are so adamant to refuse. He wants us to win. We are so adamant to lose. That is our misfortune. That we are not assessing, we are not taking the advantages, we are not reading this Bhagavatam, hearing this Bhagavatam. Therefore, we are so delighted to conduct this daily Bhagavatam so that we can propagate the teaching of Bhagavatam Dharma. Our real Dharma is called Bhagavad Dharma. The Sanatan Dharma is actually Bhagavad Dharma. There is no Hindu word in this in the Veda. There's nothing called Hindu in this Veda. It is this Persian, the Mohammedan, they give this name. The resident of the Sindhu River, our other side of Sindhu River, they cannot pronounce Hindu they pronounce. But there is nothing called Hindu in Vedic dictionary. We are called Sanatani, a Bhagavata Dharmi. Sanatana Dharma means Bhagavad Dharma. What is Sanatana Dharma? The Lord is Sanatan, He is eternal. We are also Sanatan, we are eternal, we are part and parcel. When this Sanatana living entity will be engaged with the Sanatana God, in the Sanatana Dham, this is not Sanatana, Bhutta Praliyate. This material manifestation is temporary. Bhutta Praliyate. So when a Sanatana living entity engage in the Sanatana Lord, in Sanatana Dharma, Sanatana Dham, eternal abode, that is called Sanatana Dharma. But we are now in a temporary world. We are ignorant about our Sanatana nature. We are also ignorant about the Sanatana God. We are also ignorant about Sanatana Dham. There is an eternal abode. Tasmat, what is that? Paratasmastu, Vyakta Sanatana. There is another world called Sanatana. It is not temporary. It is permanent. That is called Golok Dham, spiritual world. We have no idea all these things. Therefore, Krishna appeared as this literal incarnation to help us, to enlighten us, to educate us, so that we hear, we read, we understand, and we go back to Godhead. Therefore, it is stated by Vyāsadeva, the compiler, the author, Jassang-bhai Sriyamanayam Krishna Paramapuruse Bhakti Rutpadate Punsam Soko Moho Bhayopaya. Jassang-bhai Sriyamanayam. So, simply by once giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling of loving devotional service to the Lord Kṛṣṇa, personality of Godhead, sprouted at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. See? Simply by once giving oral reception, by hearing this Bhagavatam, we can, the feeling of bhakti, loving devotional service, which is the goal of life, prema pumartha mahan, that will sprouts up. And all this material misery, namely the lamentation, everybody lamenting here, the lamentations, it will extinguish. Lamentation and illusion, fearfulness, everything will be extinguishes. So that is the essence of Bhagavatam. That is the potency of Bhagavatam. That is the importance of Bhagavatam. Therefore, it is stated that Bhagavatam is the essence of all scriptures. Sarva Vedanta Sarami Śrī Bhāgavatam Uśyate tad-dṛśām triptasya nānyatra syadratikasya. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is declared to the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. Who has felt satisfaction from its nectarian well will never be attracted to any other. See, the essence of Vedanta means, as I told you, Veda means knowledge. It comes from the word called Vit, means root word called Vit. Vit means to know. So Veda means knowledge. Vedanta means ultimate knowledge. The essence of ultimate knowledge is Bhagavatam. So if anybody wants to get enlightened about his constitutional position, to know his dharma, the goal of life, one should read this. One should hear this. Kamba Paririshwaro, we don't need any other books. By hearing process, immediately Lord will come and manifest in our heart, dissipate all the darkness which we have lost due to the influence of this age of Kali. It is not a pretentious religion. Dharma projita kaita bhatram param nirmas saranam satam. So it is rejected or kicked out all this pretentious religion. It propounds the highest truth, that is the love of Godhead. And simply by hearing and glorifying, chanting, speaking about Bhagavatam or hearing about Bhagavatam, immediately Lord will come and compacted or sit in the heart. to dissipate all this darkness. That is the benefit of hearing Bhagavatam daily. Therefore, it is said that naṣṭa-dṛśām abodresu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistik. You want to fix in devotion, naistiki bhakti, and clear all the infection, disinfect ourselves from the influence of material energy. Naṣṭa-dṛśām abodra means infection. All this material infection will be eradicated, will be cleared by the process of hearing every day, daily, nityam, daily, regularly. Everything will be vanished. And naistiki bhakti, we will be fixed in devotion. That is the glory, that is the importance of hearing glories of Bhagavatam. Therefore, it says that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam amalam Purāṇam Vaisnavanam priya. It is very, very dear to Vaisnava. Why? Because yad Vaisnavanam priya, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purāṇam amalam means spotless. There is no spot, spotless Purāṇa. Yad Vaisnavanam priya, it's a very dear to Vaisnava. Jasmin paramansam ekam amalam jnanam paramagyate. The knowledge has been given you. Tatra jnana vairaga bhakti saitam naiskramyam abhiskritam. So, tasvanam supatanam vicharanam parabhakta vimuchane naraha. It is stated here that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the spotless Purāṇa. It is most dear to Vaishnava because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of Paramahansa. This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from material work together with the process of transcendental knowledge, renunciation and devotion. Anyone who seriously tries to understand Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants with devotion, becomes completely liberated. Therefore, Bhagavatam stands out with any other literature. Therefore, it is not only incumbent, it is imperative for us to read Bhagavatam, hear Bhagavatam daily. This is an injunction of Shastra, injunction of the scripture that one must read Bhagavatam. Sada-sebhya Bhagavata kathaitim jasya sravana matrena hari chitam samsrayat. Krishna will appear, manifest. And what he do after manifesting, he will clear actually. He will clear all this naṣṭa-dṛśām. All this ignorance will be cured. Pravishta kannarandhrena svanam bhavasaruram dhunati samlam Kṛṣṇa salilasya datasala. So he will come, enter. Lord is a sound incarnation. When you hear Bhagavatam, Lord will enter through the ears, the heart, and cleanses. Pravishta kannara svanam bhavasaruram dhunati. Dhunati means perfectly cleanse all this infection if one regularly hears. So therefore, for this purpose, we have by the injunctions following the instruction of spiritual master, just like Srila Prabhupada, he has designed our daily activities such that every day one should hear Bhagavatam, particularly early in the morning, because when we are so enlivening, where our mind is so fresh to assimilate this knowledge, because this knowledge is so important, paramount important. Therefore, we are decided, we are following the instruction of the spiritual master, and by the scripture, we are trying to conduct daily Bhagavatam, important verses, so that we can know the essence of Bhagavatam. We can hear, we can get an opportunity to hear and develop the love of Godhead and uproot all our material misery. That is whole purpose, is spiritual elevation and enrichment by hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So thank you very much. We'll stop here. Tomorrow we will start our daily Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam verses. Tomorrow we'll start with the first verses, definition of the absolute truth, and we will discuss on this matter. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All Bhagavata Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.